My guests today are no strangers to sci-fi fans around the world. She's best known for her roles in Star Trek Enterprise and Stargate SG-1, and most people know him as the tough-as-nails Johnny Rico from Starship Troopers fame. I'm pleased to welcome Casper Van Dien and Jolene Blalock to the show. Welcome to Sidewalks.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Ray.
Yeah. Now, I'm actually kind of curious. Were both of you big sci-fi fans when you were growing up?
I was a huge sci-fi fan. I loved Star Trek, so I was thrilled when we did Starship Troopers just so I could work with this Vulcan.
Yeah, and okay. And growing up, the first book I read was C.S. Lewis's, you know, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and that whole series.
Yeah, me too.
So really, yeah. So yeah, I have to say that we're fans.
And I read Starship Troopers when I was 12.
Oh, you're kidding me!
No,
really?
I'm a huge sci-fi fan.
You were enthralled by it, I'll bet, eh?
I was. I wanted the Marauder suits, the jumpsuits. So when I got the first film, I was so excited because I was hoping we were going to do that. And as a fan of the book and of Johnny Rico, Juanito Rico, I wanted to see the Marauder suits, the jumpsuits, the power suits.
Yeah.
That's what I was so excited about, and that was a big letdown for me. So this film, this third one that we're doing, I'm so thrilled that we have them in it. And this film is, although it follows directly after the first one, we skip over the second one altogether.
Yeah.
Although this one follows that one, it also is the closest to the book.
Oh, well, that's cool. Now, do you think there's like a difference? What is the biggest difference between working sci-fi projects and other types of projects? You know what I mean?
I don't know. That's kind of a tough question because from an actor's perspective, you sort of take on the role, you know, for its own sake, regardless of the environment. Because a character can be in the future. It's not no respecter of time or space. So, right. But the beauty of working in sci-fi is that you get to well, two things. It unites the human race as one, and two, you get to propose the question, what if? So I think that that's where science fiction sort of, you know, that's where my heart lies, because it can ask those questions or propose those concepts.
It is definitely an area without boundaries. You know, Jolene, I'm also very curious to ask you, being part of the whole Star Trek legacy, is there more of a pressure put on an actor going into something like that, knowing that, well, you know, afterwards there's going to be a lot involved?
Being part of the Star Trek legacy or the Starship legacy? Well,
the Star Trek legacy, you know, you specifically, just kind of the idea that, you know, that's kind of such a big social phenomenon. It's like the conventions, you know, you're signing on for being more than an actor in that role, aren't you?
Yes, that's true. I actually have a convention this Friday. Or in Vegas, the Vegas
well, at least you get to go to Vegas. That's not bad.
Yeah, not at all. It's okay for a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
Any more is too much, huh? Yeah, being part of that legacy is, you know, it's big shoes to fill. You know, Leonard Nimoy did it the best, and so it's a little daunting to fill those shoes, but I'm blessed and grateful that I got to do that in my lifetime.
And you know, Casper, when you were working on the original Starship Troopers, I mean, you obviously kind of had this romantic idea about it, but did you have any idea that the film would be as big as it you know came out to be, and that there would be follow-ups?
Well, one always hopes when they do something that it'll be huge and everything. It seemed like Starship Troopers would be a lot bigger than it was at the time, and I think that if it had been rated PG-13 instead of R, that we would have reached more of our core audience, which was like 13 and 14-year-old boys too. I think that they really couldn't go to it as much, but I think that the shelf life on DVD and video at that time and DVD has been you know, outstanding. We've had so many people that have come back and just revisited it and said Starship Troopers holds up, and so many directors come to me, Quentin Tarantino and just amazing directors come up and say, you know, I love Starship Troopers, and you sit there and you're just amazed at how many people love this. And so, yes and no. You're surprised, and yet you always hope that you can have that.
Yeah, well, it was a great film, and it's like people watching it for years to come, I'm sure. On that note, I mean, how do you think this third film stacks up against the other two?
I have to say we done good. We did a good job.
This one follows where the first one left off 10 years later. We skip over the second one altogether, and it's the war's not going so well. The bugs are back, and we have some new bugs, and these bugs are created by Robert Skotek and Dennis Skotek, the Skotek brothers, who won the Academy Awards for special effects for Aliens, T2, and The Abyss. I mean, we have some, you know, although the budget's not as big, they're still, their imagination and their creativity is, you know, they're Academy Award winners. So, I mean, you're talking about the best of the best. And we have them, and that, for us, is fun to work with, and gives you so much more to feed off of, and that intensity. And then also we have now the Marauder suits, and to have somebody like Jolene, I mean, she's the strongest and toughest woman we've had in the Starship Troopers world thus far. And that was just exciting to see, because she's carrying around a big gun, and some guys can't even carry it around well and make it look right. You know, some guys just don't know how to handle a weapon, but to see this petite woman just, you know, take control of it and then also slap some guys around, it's just, that's kind of cool.
I always thought, you know, watching these films, that one of the hardest challenges for the actors is, I mean, the co-stars of the film, the bugs, don't really exist. You know what I mean? Is it, do you love the bugs, hate the bugs? How is it working, you know, against something that's not really there?
Well, if you want to be a trooper, you definitely have to hate bugs. Hate the bugs.
You have to love hating the bugs.
Yeah,
comes with the job.
It's a love-hate relationship.
But you know, yes, we're dealing with a lot of imagination. But you know, luckily, you've got a couple people here who haven't quite grown up yet and have active imagination. So
Peter Pan syndrome. Absolutely.
So, but then again, you know, as Casper just mentioned, the Skotek brothers, they drew us pictures, so we had visuals. They did the best that they could to fill the blank canvas, and they also built some animatronic stuff, so that we did have real things to work with and interact with.
And the way Ed writes, you also get a good visual from just that. So it's you know, it's like reading a book. You get to have your imagination, and then when you see it come to fruition through somebody else who's a genius, but also seeing what they're kind of drawing and everything, then it works well for you. It makes your job easy.
Well, I think that I've seen the film. I think it came out great. It really kind of harkens back to the first one, and a lot of exciting action. You will not be bored for a minute in this film.
Yeah, well, that's the satire too. That is important. There's another key element of the success of the first Starship was the political satire, and he brought that one back with the FedNet, and also it has a, you know, it's pretty, his humor's twisted, and I like that.
Yeah. Well, you know, as we close, do you have any advice for young upcoming actors who are trying to break in the business and be where you are now?
I will give you the advice that was given to me by Dennis Quaid. You stick at anything long enough and something's going to stick.
That is good advice. What about you, Casper?
I'm not gonna be able to top that one.
Very nice. Well, it has been a pleasure having you both, and good luck with the film, and I hope that things go well for you in the future.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Ray.
Ray.